late than we're used to doing the briefing, so I'll just have a few updates before I get to your questions. I wanted to make sure you are all aware that last week the First Lady announced that she will lead the United States delegation in support of the more than 90 American athletes competing at the Invictus Games in Toronto, Canada this September. As the President often says, there's no better representative for the United States than the First Lady, and he's very proud to have her leading the team that will support these American athletes. The First Lady is very much looking forward to her first solo international trip, and her office is available to answer any questions you may have. As you know, the Vice President is overseas on a 3-country visit to Eastern Europe. He spent the last few days in Estonia attending meetings and speaking to the multinational troops participating in the NATO Enhanced Forward Presence mission, where he recognized Estonia as one of only 5 NATO member states that meets its defense spending obligations. Earlier today, the Vice President and Second Lady arrived in Georgia, where they attended a dinner hosted by the Prime Minister. And as the Vice President continues to strengthen our relationships with our friends and allies in Europe during his travels, here at home, the Departments of Commerce and Energy welcomed news of a partnership between American Energy and the government of Ukraine. Ukraine's state-owned power generation company will purchase American thermal coal ahead of the upcoming winter season. This partnership will provide Ukraine with a secure, reliable, and competitive alternative energy source, helping to stabilize an energy supply which has historically been at the mercy of the country's volatile neighbors. This announcement will also boost our own economy, supporting jobs in the coal and transportation industries. As the Trump administration continues to move our country down the path of energy dominance, we hope to see more mutually beneficial partnerships like these in the future. And lastly, I know we all saw the ceremony that just ended in the East Room. And Specialist 5, McClue was in at the sticks afterwards, but I think his heroic story bears repeating again. For 48 harrowing hours of close combat fighting in Vietnam, he was voluntarily risked his life multiple times to protect his comrades. Even after shrapnel from a rocket-propelled grenade slashed open the back of his body from head to foot, he continued to answer the pleas of his fellow soldiers, even carrying one to safety on his own badly injured back. As one of his comrades recalled, the medic could count on him. The President was honored to award him with the Medal of Honor today, officially adding his name to the list of American heroes who will stand forever in our history for their bravery and unbreakable spirit. And with that, I'll take your questions.
What happened, Sarah? What happened?
It's kind of fun. How long will you yell? Just kidding. Jen, go ahead.
Can you say, is Anthony Scaramucci still in the administration? Does he have another role now besides communications director? And can you talk a little bit about the circumstances of his departure this morning?
Sure. He does not have a role at this time in the Trump administration. And we put out a statement earlier announcing that, and I don't have much else to add beyond it.
Not at the XM Bank at all?
Not at this time.
Can you say, did General Kelly ask him to leave, or did the President ask him to leave? Did he volunteer his resignation, or how did that come about?
I'm not going to get into the process. TikTok, look, as we've said several times before, what matters most to us is not who's employed in the White House, but who's employed in the rest of the country. And we're focused on the President's agenda of growing the economy, creating jobs, and that's what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to be focused on. John?
Sarah, was it a chain of command issue because Scaramucci said that he had a direct line of communication with the President? There's been some speculation that General Kelly may try to tighten up the number of inputs that the President has. So was it something about the chain of command, or did it have anything to do with that interview that Scaramucci did last week?
Look, the President certainly felt that Anthony's comments were inappropriate for a person in that position, and he didn't want to burden General Kelly also with that line of succession, as I think we've made clear a few times over the course of the last couple of days to several of you individually, but General Kelly has the full authority to operate within the White House, and all staff will report to him.
When you say you didn't want to burden him with that line of succession, you mean the chain of command?
Yeah, correct.
And
question.
if we could just clarify one point about this chain of command. Apparently Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump have said they look forward to following General Kelly's lead. When it comes to the people who have access to the President, will that conduit be narrowed down now? Will everything flow through Kelly, or will some things still flow around the Chief of Staff's office.
As I just said, the president's given full authority to General Kelly, and he'll make those determinations. April.
Sarah, this statement that was released by the White House says Mr. Scaramucci felt that it was best to give the Chief of Staff, John Kelly, a clean slate and the ability to build his own team. But you just said the president felt that his comments were inappropriate.
I don't see those as being mutually exclusive. I think Anthony wants General Kelly to be able to operate fully with a clean slate, build his own team, while at the same time the president felt his comments were inappropriate. Those two things aren't mutually
And a
exclusive.
follow-up to that, with the new hierarchy with General Kelly, tell us what it looks like in this administration.
You know, as we've laid out, General Kelly, I think, will bring a new structure to the White House and discipline and strength, and we're all really excited to work with him. And in terms of, I'm not going to draw out an org chart up here, but we'll keep you guys posted as.
Steve Bannon, Kellyanne, everyone reports under him instead of going straight to the president with issues. Does every special assistant go to General Kelly first?
I think I've been clear that General Kelly has the full authority to carry out business as he sees fit. John Decker.
Thanks a lot, Sarah. Real quick one first. I have two for you. The real quick one, it regards Sean Spicer. Will he be in the administration in any way now that Anthony Scaramucci has announced that he will not be a part of the Trump administration?
I'm not aware of any changes that have been made on that front.
And then my second one is this: 10 days ago, Anthony Scaramucci was introduced as the new White House communications director. 10 days later, he's out of a job. The president announced on Twitter that there's no chaos at the White House. How would you describe what has happened over the course of the past 10 days? Obviously, you will agree with your boss, the president, that there's no chaos, but how do you explain that not to be the case?
I think it's pretty simple. I've said it before. If you want to see chaos, come to my house with 3 preschoolers. This doesn't hold a candle to that. Just to be clear, that's not an open invitation to come to my house. But if you guys want to schedule babysitting time, I'll be happy to work that out.
Does the president regret hiring Anthony Scaramucci?
I'm not going to get into anything beyond what I've already said on that front.
You said you don't want to get into the process, but you already did. The statement says that Scaramucci felt. So you're basically laying this on him. You're saying that it was his decision. Was it his decision?
I think I've been pretty clear that the president felt it was inappropriate. Both Anthony and General Kelly also, I think, came to a mutual agreement, and we're moving forward to focus on the jobs outside of this building, not within it.
So two questions, one on this and then a different topic. Just to clarify, because I want to make sure I understand the word he here, who this refers to. You had said a minute ago, he didn't want to burden General Kelly also with that line of succession.
The president.
That's the president. So
yeah.
it's you were saying that it's the president who was deciding that.
Look, we all serve at the pleasure of the president, but I think that this was a mutually agreed conversation that took place between several people.
And then
Stephen,
on the other topic,
oh, sorry, another topic.
Just on Russia and Russia sanctions, do you know whether the president has or intends to soon sign the Russia sanctions bill? And why hasn't the president taken the opportunities he's had today, several public opportunities, to say something in response to Vladimir Putin's retaliation with the 755 diplomats?
Yeah, so we put out a statement over the weekend stating the president's intent to sign, and we'll let you know when that takes place. We'll let you know when that's going to happen. And in terms of your second question, the follow-up was, I'm sorry?
Why hasn't he taken the opportunity to say something forceful to President Putin? I mean, I've talked to folks today who said it's kind of striking, the silence from the president, with no sort of response out of his own mouth. He had a couple of opportunities today to say something about it, and he didn't.
Right now we're reviewing our options, and when we have something to say on it, we'll let you know. Jill?
Sorry, just not to beat a dead horse, but to go back to April's question.
Why
You
not?
said
That's our
earlier-
favorite thing to do.
You said earlier all staff will report to the new chief of staff. Does that include Jared Kushner? Does that include Steve Bannon? Everyone reports to Kelly?
That includes everybody at the White House.
Okay, and then I want to also ask just a question about tax reform. Will the administration absolutely support the version of tax overhaul that comes out of the Ways and Means Committee?
Well, we're working hand in glove with, we put out a joint statement with the Big Six. We'll continue working with them and announce details as they come forward. Francesca?
Thank you, Sarah. When Sean Spicer resigned, it was for a clean slate. Now that Anthony Scaramucci resigned, that's also for a clean slate. Has the slate been totally cleaned at this point? Should we expect any more staff shakeups? Everybody else in senior staff positions is planning to remain for this time?
Yes, they are. John Gizzi?
Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Two very brief questions. Is there any chance you will just leave the job of communications director alone, having had two people who held it leave rather abruptly in both cases?
We'll let you know when we have any personnel announcements to make on that front.
The other thing I
Second
wanted
question.
to ask was when the president made his speech to the police officers on Friday, almost within minutes, statements came from police chiefs across the country criticizing his remarks that seemed to endorse the use of force by police in certain arrests. Was the president joking when he said this, or did he check his remarks out with the International Association of Police Chiefs, or maybe the Attorney General?
I believe he was making a joke at the time. Trey?
So to be clear, because the statement says that Anthony Scaramucci is no longer with the administration, was Scaramucci fired by the president, or was he asked to resign?
Again, I'm not going to get into anything beyond what I've already said on that
Quick
front.
follow-up from the president's
go ahead.
perspective. You said this was a back-and-forth conversation. Can you take us through a little bit of what the president is looking for in his communications shop, why he might make this decision to make it clean slate?
I think that he wants to work with General Kelly and the communications team that is intact right now and determine what the best course forward is at this point. Noah?
Are reports that Attorney General Sessions is being considered for Homeland Security Chief accurate? How soon will that search be complete? How essential is it for the White House to fill that in a quick manner?
There are no conversations about any cabinet members moving in any capacity, and the president has 100% confidence in all members of his cabinet. Allie?
I have two questions for you. One, on the Scaramucci issue, you said the president found his remarks inappropriate. Obviously, the president is not a stranger to salty language. Can you specify what exactly he found inappropriate or disturbing about that?
I said he found it inappropriate for a person in that position.
To do what?
I believe the comments that he made, he found those comments inappropriate. I'm not sure what's unclear.
Okay, is it a betrayal sort of the rest of the staff? Just trying to find out, because you talk about the messaging being important for the president here, and obviously the head of the communications department is crucial to that effort. So just trying to figure out what exactly went wrong between this morning when Scaramucci was here and this afternoon.
Again, I don't think that it's complicated to understand that the president felt the comments were inappropriate. I can't really explain it any further than that. I'm not sure what's hard.
On North Korea, obviously, events over the weekend have unfolded. There's been some discussion from outside analysts who are increasingly speculating about the possibility of a first strike. Is that an option on the table for this White House?
As we've said many times before, the president's not going to broadcast any decisions, but all options are on the table. Peter.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Sarah. The president week before last signed an executive order on infrastructure. Does that mean that the president has not no intention, but is not going to prioritize working with Congress on an infrastructure bill? Is there any discussion at this point of moving forward on any sort of legislative plans for infrastructure, especially digital, since he
Absolutely.
mentioned in Iowa?
The president's been very outspoken on the need for a massive overhaul to the country's infrastructure system, and that's certainly still a priority, both legislative and in any capacity that he has the ability to carry that out. Matthew?
Thanks, Sarah. Just kind of big picture here. We've seen a chief of staff, a deputy chief of staff, handful of communications directors, a press secretary, and a national security advisor all leave in the first 6 months of this administration. Can you tell us a little bit about why there's been all this turbulence? I know you don't like to get into the process, but just all those things together, what's going on?
Look, we're continuing to focus on the president's agenda. We're going to have staff changes. We let you guys know when they happen. But like I said earlier, what matters to us are not the jobs that are within this building, but the ones outside of there. That's why the president's been so focused on growing jobs. over 1 million new jobs since he took office, the lowest unemployment in the last 16 years. Consumer confidence is at an all-time high. We're focused on creating a strong economy and growing jobs outside of this building, not focused on the ones within. We're going to continue to do that.
Healthcare,
Alexis?
if I may, a quick follow-up on healthcare.
Sure.
Mick Mulvaney said the White House doesn't want any votes in the Senate until they're voting on healthcare. With John McCain out, Pence out of the country, they don't appear likely to vote on healthcare. And you guys are also pushing for the confirmation of some nominees. Is it the White House position that they will accept the Senate voting on non-healthcare things over the next few weeks and months?
We're continuing to push forward, hopefully with the repeal and replacement of Obamacare. We've never been shy about that, and we're going to continue to do that. Alexis. Alexis.
The President's Legislative Affairs Director was talking today at the museum about the President's tax reform ambitions, and I wanted to ask if you can elaborate on the President's hope to travel in August to begin to talk about tax cuts and tax reform, and his interest in maybe getting some Democratic senators interested in supporting legislation. Do you have any details that you can supply about where he might go and the message he wants to impart?
Not at this time, but certainly we'll make sure we keep you guys posted on the President's travel and schedule throughout August. I know he does hope to have a large amount of support for tax reform. It's something that is vital to our economy and something certainly the administration is very focused on and has been and will continue working both with the House and Senate as well as members of the administration. We're cutting a little close on time. Thanks so much, guys.